All right, bro, you got to hear me out on this one. You got to be open and honest, and don't you lie to me because I'll know. Just let's be real, let's be bros for a sec. You ever watch a show or a movie or you play a game and you think a certain character in that piece of media is super freaking cool and you just want to become that character or have some traits like that character? So you sort of just like, I don't know, download their personality and kind of just copy them for maybe a week, 2 weeks, and God forbid, maybe a fucking month. Let me give you an example. Dash from The Incredibles. You cannot tell me you saw that scene where he ran across the water and you did not think that was the fucking coolest shit ever. That shit was fire. I'll say it was fire. I thought that was so cool that whenever I went swimming or pool, I would do it at friends' houses. I'd try to fucking run on that water, almost hitting my head on the side of the pool. It was awesome. Unfortunately, I discovered I was not Jesus Christ and I could not walk nor run on water. It was a bit of a disappointment, but I really tried for a good 2 or 3 months. I didn't. This phase lasted a little while. What always helps me remember that I was obsessed with Dash and I wanted to be just like him wasn't just because he ran on that water, but for some reason when I was a kid, this one line he said after the Incredibles were all in the car together and it got fucking thrown around. They're all flying and shit. And after they're done crashing, everybody's okay. And then Dash is like laughing in the back. He's like, oh, let's do that again. Can we do that again? And I don't know why. Okay, that scene really stuck with me. So I was in the back seat with my parents. They were driving me somewhere and we hit the speed bump super fast. And oh God, we hit it, and then my dad looked back just like Mr. Incredible and he said, you guys okay back there? And I was like, oh, let's do that again. Instantly knowing that that was my moment where I could finally say that in a scenario that makes sense. But my parents kind of just looked at each other and like smiled out of cringe. Totally deserved. It was very cringy, but that stuck with me for the rest of your life. So that's how you know some cringe just will never leave. But I had a level up. I was like, all right, Dash is cool, whatever. I didn't really download or copy any other character. Nobody was worthy of getting copied by iBrandad. But I was 15 when I saw John Wick for the first time in theaters with my dad. And as you all know, John Wick is a great movie franchise. But this is the first one. It was different. It was like, and it was like super cool. Like John Wick Reloaded? What? It's never been heard of before. I mean, that movie is so badass and cool. I was 15 at the time. You can't tell me you didn't see that movie for the first time and go, holy shit, brother, I am John Wick now. In fact, I wanted to be John Wick so bad that I started taking martial arts lessons with my one friend that started doing it. I did like 3 or 4 classes before I stopped just because, one, I was terrible at it. I did not do well. I mean, look at me now. It was even worse. I was a skinny stick. Like you could push the wind could throw me away. But the teacher's like, oh, you just got to use your dexterity compared to raw strength. But let me tell you something about that teacher. The main teacher of that martial arts class that my friend was in was sketchy as fuck. Like, kind of cool that he was kind of sketchy as fuck. It's a cool little fun thing to remember. But he was like, thank God the cameras aren't in here. There's no cameras in here because these techniques I shouldn't be really showing you guys, but they're pretty cool if you ever need to use them. Just showing us different ways to like murder people. Well, not murder people, but defend ourselves, but like a little aggressively. I don't know. It was kind of sketchy. And he was always like taking out his knife and showing us. And there was a few older people there too, but it was mostly younger people, like 15, 16. So kind of a crazy experience. But another reason I stopped taking the class was because I wanted to be somebody else. This was the time, like 15, 16. That age is where I like really just started flip-flopping on characters I wanted to be. I don't want to be John Wick no more. I want to be fucking Reese from Tales from the Borderlands. You guys ever play this game? Great game by Telltale, a choice-based game. The second one, I heard it's absolute dog shit, and I've seen some cringe shit, so don't play that. I heard it's disgusting. Reese is like, he's me. That is so me. I was like, I'm Reese. And I thought he was so cool. I thought his robot arm was cool. Like, he's a nerdy loser kind of guy, but he eventually, like, steps up, and he's kind of just he's a fun character, right? But he had this cool robot arm, and I was thinking about all these different ways I was gonna fucking make that best Halloween costume for him. And I was gonna like get the suit off some stupid cosplay site. I was gonna make myself a metal arm, but I was like, maybe I should just use cardboard. It never came to light. I never actually made the costume because it seemed like a lot at the time. But yeah, I wanted to be Reese. The next character I wanted to be was also from a Telltale game, The Wolf Among Us. Now, if you played The Wolf Among Us, you also know how much of a fucking badass Big B Wolf is. This sheriff that is trying to protect Fabletown, and he's kind of like an asshole. He smokes a lot of cigs. He doesn't take any shit. He's a fucking badass. He's a force to be reckoned with, right? One of the things Bigby liked to do was walk around with his hand in his pocket, all badass, like walking in, strolling in, smoking a cigarette. But yeah, I started doing that one hand in the pocket walk in the hallways at school, thinking I was so cool. Nobody noticed or said anything. They probably thought I had something up my ass or I was trying to fix my balls. Bigby also used to smoke a lot of cigarettes, but I was a pure innocent kid. I didn't want to smoke, or I did not know cigarettes. I knew they were bad and addictive. I was not about to get in that shit. But I did have the brilliant idea of buying a vape with no nicotine, because nicotine made me lightheaded. And I didn't actually want to get addicted to that shit either. So I bought a vape with no nicotine, and I started smoking that to look cool and shit. I made some pretty cool clowns, if you can believe it or not. I remember one of my friends asking me, why do you have a vape with no nicotine in it? And I'm just like looking at them, and I have to try and find a way to explain this without telling them that I'm trying to be like Big B Wolf. But he has cigarette. It doesn't make any sense. It was close. It was something close enough, I guess. So the final character I remember wanting to be was Trevor from GTA 5. Probably the worst, disgusting piece of shit, gross, just awful person to want to try and be like. Just absolute menace, right? I was like 16, bro, and I leaned into the act a little too hard. I was starting to become like a huge menace, just like, you know, messing up the school bathrooms, like, because that's so cool, and fucking, that's so Trevor, and just like being a nuisance, swearing a lot, even more than I do now. It was a mess. It was cringy. It was bad. But I eventually stopped that one pretty quick after like 2 weeks. But the people that had to deal with Brandad Trevor, I'm sorry. That was really dumb. But yeah, that's all the characters I can remember wanting to be like, or taking parts of their personality, downloading it to my brain. Let me know if you have any crazy characters you pretended to be like. If you still do now, just be you, bro. That's the best Brandad advice I can give you. Just be you. Look at that. We're ending the video on a positive note.